Don't play me the fool.
So loud. So angry. So dead.
There are many useful tools in an adventuring party's arsenal. A bag of holding, lockpicks, the handy-dandy 10-foot pole. But with clever use of the handle animal skill, a well-trained furry friend can be worth his weight in gold, and even a hero in his own right. So, first off, the handle animal skill is trained only. That means untrained characters cannot attempt to perform it. So, that means if you want to even attempt a handle animal check, you have to have put 1 point into the skill. Handle animal is a charisma-based skill, so races that get an inherent bonus to charisma will have a little bit of an easier time of it. But that being said, the rolls required to successfully handle an animal and to train it aren't insane. So you can get away with having not a terribly high charisma modifier, or at least not a negative in charisma, and still make the skill work for you. Alright, next up, what classes get handle animal as a class skill? They are Barbarian, Druid, this is kind of a bread and butter skill for the Druid, Fighter, this is mostly for mounted combat, same for the Paladin. Ranger is another very core skill for them. Cavalier, more mounted combat. And Oracle with the Life Mystery adds handle animal to their list of class skills. And Oracles can really make good use of it, considering their high charisma modifiers. Blood Ragers get handle animal, along with Brawlers. I like the idea of a hard-drinking, two-fisted brawler with a helpful dog or something as a companion. Hunters, again, that's kind of an obvious one. Shaman, Scalds, which is another really kind of cool thematic one, and War Priest. Now, if you're not interested in playing any of those, but still making use of the handle animal skill, there are a couple of traits that you could also use. Beast Bond is a really good one. This social trait gives you a +1 bonus to handle animal and ride checks, and one of them, your choice, is always a class skill for you. Now, if you're playing a gnome and you really want to Disney this thing, you could take Animal Friend. You get a +1 trait bonus to will saving throws as long as an animal, tiny or large, that has an attitude of at least indifferent toward you is within 30 feet, and handle animal is always a class skill for you. Alright, now let's talk about the tasks that you can do with handle animal. The first and most important one is handle animal. This is where you command an animal to perform a task or trick that it knows. The DC for this is 10. It gets a little more difficult if the animal is injured or has non-lethal damage, but it's still well within the range of a check you can make easily, even at fairly low levels. In addition, you can push an animal. Essentially what this means is you can get it to perform a task or trick that it does not know, but it is physically capable of doing. As an example, if you have a dog that has not been trained to attack, you can still get it to attack, if you can make a DC 25 handle animal check. Next, you can teach an animal a task or trick. This requires 1 week, and the DC varies. Here are some of my picks for useful tricks, but this is by no means a complete list. Attack. The animal attacks apparent enemies. You may point to a particular creature that you wish the animal to attack, and it will comply if able. Normally, an animal will attack only humanoids, monstrous humanoids, or other animals. Teaching an animal to attack all creatures, including such unnatural creatures as undead and aberrations, requires 2 tricks. Animals have a set number of tricks that they can learn. I'll get into that in just a second. The DC to teach an animal to attack is a DC 20. Defend. The animal defends you or is ready to defend you if no threat is present, even without any command being given. Alternatively, you can command the animal to defend you or another character. The DC to teach an animal to defend is a DC 20. Guard. An animal stays in place and prevents others from approaching. DC 20. Perform. The animal performs a variety of simple tasks, such as sitting up, rolling over, roaring, begging, and so on. To teach an animal to perform is a DC 15. Track. The animal tracks the scent presented to it. This requires the animal to have the scent ability. Teaching an animal to track is a DC 20. Alternatively, you can train an animal in some broad general categories that cover a number of different things. You can train animals with combat training. You can train them for fighting. You can train them for heavy labor. You can train them for hunting, and you can train them for riding. Alright, so, how many tricks can an animal learn? An animal with an intelligence score of 1 can learn 3 tricks. An animal with an intelligence score of 2 can learn 6 tricks. Alright, now let's talk about some of the animals which are going to be most useful to the party. First off, dog. Just like in real life, dogs are incredibly handy to have around. And for a modest 25 gold, I'd say a guard dog is well worth the investment. Something DMs tend to like to do is whenever the party camps, they're going to make you go on guard duty. Having a guard dog around, or better yet, a couple of guard dogs, is a great idea, because the dog is going to get his own perception check. Additionally, having a dog around is a great idea if you want to have a way to check for things like undead and unnatural creatures like aberrations or demons. Say, you're walking around a spooky cemetery. If your DM is at all on his game, that dog is either going to be completely normal, because it's just a cemetery, guys. It's foggy. There's no big deal here. Or he's going to be freaking out and barking his head off because there's a ghost or a demon or zombies or something. Also, if you suspect someone of being, say, a hag in disguise or possibly possessed, the dog will know. Also, dogs have that fantastic scent ability, which means they will likely notice things that the party won't. And they can be used for tracking. Finally, this isn't necessarily consistent, especially in homebrewed worlds, but at least in Galarian, the Pathfinder official setting, goblins fear dogs. So that's one pest that will potentially get a nasty surprise if they attack your camp. Another animal I really would recommend are hunting cats. No, these are not your normal feline house cats. These are something awesome like a panther or a cheetah. First off, they can actually accomplish things in combat. Granted, they'll drop off in usefulness pretty quickly, but still. Also, like dogs, they're an extra perception check, and they have bonuses to perception as well as low light vision. They're also very fast and stealthy. Also, come on, you know having a panther as an animal friend is frickin' awesome. A hunting cat will cost you 100 gold, provided you can find it. Up next, hawks. At 18 gold pieces, having a flying animal friend is not a bad idea. Hawks have fantastic perception, especially if you want to train them as guards that can let out one of those nice piercing caws if they see anything sneaking up on the party. Also, a hawk can be used to deliver messages between party members. Finally, I don't think you can go wrong with a trained monkey. First off, monkeys can climb and get into places that even the wiliest halfling will have trouble with. Monkeys can also retrieve items for the party, and that's pretty useful, and also throw switches. And you know, if you're, say, a bard or someone who uses the perform skill to make money, having the monkey perform with you should at least give you a +2 on that check. The NPCs will eat that stuff up. Thank you for watching the D6 Damage Handle Animal Skill Guide. If you're interested in more character builds and class analysis for Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder, check out D6 Damage right here on YouTube.